It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Bob was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the messages: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said: 1. Don't take the pill from the first envelope. 2. Take the pill from the third envelope. And the last envelope said: 1. Don't take this pill. 2. Take the pill from the first envelope. Well, which capsule should Bob take? He should trust the pill from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. Timothy and Diana were strolling in a magic forest together when they ran into an evil witch. The witch captured Diana and took her to a haunted castle. Timothy managed to find the hidden castle and watched as the witch turned Diana into a frog. When the witch left the room, he snuck inside to turn Diana back into human form. He found a spell book that could help him and found out the recipe for the magic potion he had to make. He recognized most of the ingredients, but the last 2 were encrypted. Take a look at the witch's ingredient cabinet and try to help Timothy discover the last 2 ingredients he needs to make the magic potion. You got it! That's exactly what he needs. The day started busy in Fabertown. The police station got a call saying an undercover vampire was passing as a teacher at Middle Moon Elementary School. The officer went down there to check and found 3 possible suspects. Take a look at them and see if you can guess who the vampire is. It's the one in the middle. She's wearing sunglasses inside the cafeteria and drinking a very suspicious red drink. Yikes! Eric was coming home from a night out. As he reached the gate of his apartment, he heard the sound of someone bawling. He looked around, but no one was there. That's when he noticed something that scared him, and he shouted, "Ghosts! Ghosts! Someone help me!" Look at the image. Can you identify what Eric saw that scared him so much? The gate lamp isn't attached to the pole. It's floating in the air and somehow still shining bright. Well, this isn't right. Then Eric called his best friend, who also happened to be a renowned ghost hunter. That's convenient. His buddy Ray arrives, and his ghost watch immediately starts beeping. It leads them to the building's pool. At the pool, they see a girl swimming. Eric shouts, "Hey, why are you swimming in the pool so late at night? Here, let me help you get out." But Ray stops him, saying, "Don't do that." Why did Ray do it? Look at the pool. The girl is swimming, but there is no movement in the water. She must be a ghost. On the other side of town, Bobby is also ghost hunting. He called his friend Susan to visit the town's old creepy hotel and bust some ghosts. As they arrive, they find clear signs of ghost activity. It looked like that ghost had a sense of humor, though, and wanted to play hide and seek with them. The ghost led Bobby and Susan into a room with 4 doors. Each door had an inscription on it with clues to where the ghost might be hiding. The sign on door A says, "It's behind B or C." The sign behind door B says, "It's behind A or D." Door C says, "It's in here." And door D claims, "The ghost isn't here." Bobby and Susan looked very confused until a note appeared next to their feet saying, "3 of the inscriptions are false and 1 is true." Can you guess which door led to the ghost? Let's see how this would work. If the ghost was behind door A, then both B and D would be true. But if it was behind door B, then both A and D would be true. If the ghost was behind door C, then A, C, and D are all true. But if the ghost was behind door D, then the statements on all the other doors were false, except for that on door B. This matched the rules, so it was behind door D. To get into the best Halloween party in town, Becky had to solve a difficult riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. By the time the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And by the time the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand in the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there's 1 minute's worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Whew, that took some work. Jessica was on a trip to the desert when she got separated from her group. She noticed a sandstorm was coming her way. She had 3 options for what to do. She could try to run away from the sandstorm, she could hide behind a big rock, or she could try hiding in the desert's dry riverbed. Which one is Jessica's best option? Well, the first option is a terrible idea, as she will never run faster than a sandstorm. The riverbed is also not such a good idea, as it's too low, and the sand from the storm can fill the entire hole in no time. Her best option would be to hide behind a big rock. After the storm passed, Jessica used the radio to send an SOS signal to the guide. The guide told her to sit tight. A rescue team would shortly be on its way to help her. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams came to help Jessica. She got suspicious and asked all the teams who had sent them. The first team said that they had heard the news on the radio that a woman was lost in the desert and came quickly to aid her. The second team said that the hotel she was staying in called the police for help. The last team said they received a radio call saying a woman was in distress and quickly came to help. Which rescue team should she trust? The last team. Jessica sent a message to her guide as soon as the storm was over, remember?
Miss Jenkins invited her friends over. There was only one problem. Her friends eat a lot, so she knew she needed to bake 6 pies. At some point, she lost track of time and realized there was little time left. How can she cope in 15 minutes if only 4 pies are placed in the pan, and a pie should be baked for 5 minutes on each side? Here's how she can do that. She puts 4 pies for 5 minutes and turns over 2 pies. Then she removes 2 pies and puts 2 new ones, not yet fried, once again for 5 minutes. Next, she removes 2 pies, turns 2 of them, and puts 2 underdone ones from the first batch, which will take 5 minutes. Bon appetit! Water lilies grow in the pond. They multiply quite quickly, doubling the area of distribution every day. In 48 days, the pond will be completely covered with water lilies. In how many days will the water lilies cover half the pond? It's 47 days, not 24. If the number of water lilies doubles every day, then it takes them 48 days to cover the entire pond. It's logical that they will occupy half the pond the day before that. Mr. Richardson, a math professor, decided to treat his friends to his signature vegetable salad. To do this, he needed 3 bell peppers and the same number of tomatoes. He also needed fewer cucumbers than tomatoes, but more than radishes. How many vegetables did the professor use in the salad? Mr. Richardson used 9 veggies, 3 bell peppers, 3 tomatoes, 2 cucumbers, and 1 radish. There were 3 rabbits in the cage. 3 girls asked for 1 rabbit each. Each girl was given a rabbit, and yet there was still 1 rabbit left in the cage. How did it happen? One girl was given a rabbit along with the cage. A man jumped out of a plane without a parachute. He landed on solid ground, but remained unharmed. Why? The plane was on the ground. The satellite makes 1 revolution around the Earth in 1 hour 40 minutes. Yet the same one can make 1 revolution in only 100 minutes. How can it be so? "100 minutes is 1 hour and 40 minutes. Gotcha! 8 twin brothers escaped to a country house for the weekend, and each found something to his liking. The first one is busy picking apples. The second one goes fishing. The third one heats the sauna. The fourth one plays chess with his brother. The fifth one cooks dinner. The sixth one watches a series on a laptop all day. The seventh one discovers the artist in himself and paints the surrounding landscapes. What is the eighth brother doing at this time? Well, he plays chess with the fourth brother. One woman lived in a 12-room apartment. She had a clock in every room. One Saturday evening, at the end of October, she changed all her clocks to wintertime and went to bed. When she woke up the next morning, she found that only 2 dials showed the correct time. Why? Ten of the 12 clocks were electronic. During the night, there was a power surge and the clocks went off. And only 2 were mechanical, so they showed the correct time the next morning. Jack and John are best buddies, and they're both philosophers. Therefore, sometimes the way they speak may be pretty bizarre for common people. "Let's have dinner together when the day after tomorrow becomes yesterday," said John. "Today will be as far from Sunday as the day that was today when the day before yesterday was tomorrow." What day of the week did he speak about? It's Sunday. Luckily, Jack could easily interpret what his friend wanted to say, so they had a nice dinner together. There are 20 people on the bus. At the first stop, 2 people got off and 3 people got in. At the next one, 1 got off and 4 got in. At the next, 5 got off and 2 got in. At the next, 2 got off and 1 got in. At the next, 9 got off and no one got in. At the next, 2 more came out. How many stops were there? There were 6 stops. Samantha and Julie wanted to have a peaceful Sunday afternoon. They decided to have a hot air balloon ride and headed to the park. The instructor offered them to choose which one they wanted to ride, a blue one, a green one, or a yellow one. Samantha loves the blue one. No surprise, look at her clothes. And Julie wants to go for the green one. Which girl isn't very attentive? Samantha, the color isn't that important. There's no sandbags. You want to have a safe ride, don't you? Somebody was stealing important documents from the office. The guards didn't see anyone. Neither did the secretary. The boss decided to install the security cameras to find out who was doing it. They checked the footage carefully and found out who it was. Can you guess? It's the man in the white shirt. When he went out of the office, he had 2 folders in his hand. At the beginning of the day, he had only 1. Which number is missing? 4, 5, 6. 4, 5. The number 7 is missing. The subsequent number of 456 is 457. Imagine you've just entered a pitch-black room. There's an oil lamp, a newspaper, and some wood kindling inside the room. You have only 1 match. You have to make a tough choice. What to light first? The oil lamp is definitely a good choice, but it's still incorrect. First of all, you'll need to light the match. Ted Thompson, who didn't really like modern art, rushed into the city gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet, the manager of the gallery thanked Mr. Thompson for his actions. How come? Ted was a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more exhibits. Once upon a time, in a spooky forest, there were 7 trolls who were all brothers. They were all born 3 years apart. The youngest troll is 100 years old now. How old is his oldest brother? He's 118. Looking good for that age. A man wakes up in a place he's never been before. He rushes to the exit and sees 2 doors. When he opens the first door, he sees that the hall is made of magnifying glass. The scorching hot sun fries anyone who enters in no time. Behind a second door, a huge dragon breathing with fire is sleeping. But anyone who enters this hall risks waking it up immediately. How does he escape safely? He needs to wait for dusk, so there's no sun, and he can easily get out of that place. Detective Cooper needed to find out the very last piece of missing information in the case he's been dealing with lately. He finally got to the office where secret documents were hidden. To open the door, he needs to choose the right button. There are 3 of them, a yellow one, a green one, and a blue one. Which one should the detective choose? The detective needs to choose the blue button. It's pretty worn out, so it must have been used many times. Plus, there's a small note with a warning. The green button is for emergency, and the yellow one shuts all the doors and turns off the light in the whole building. One day, Amanda thought her boyfriend hid a secret from her. To find out what it was, she needed to get access to his laptop. She had no idea what the password was, but there was a post-it note right on his desk. However, she needed to decipher the pass. Apple, man, Dawn. Can you crack this code? Right, it's Amanda. Her name is the code. By the way, the secret he was hiding was the birthday present Eric was choosing for her. Hey, never do what Amanda did. It's pretty mean to snoop on someone.
Eric was deeply in love with Carrie, and he finally decided to ask her out. He wanted to make it romantic, so instead of texting her, he decided to write his invitation with chalk on the sidewalk right outside her window. It read, "Carrie, I'll be waiting for you in the restaurant Star tomorrow at 7 p.m. sharp." Carrie was also in love with Eric, and she would have come there with pleasure. Still, she never showed up. Why? Thing is, the rain started, and the invitation was washed away. Carrie simply didn't see it. I hope they work things out. Allison got lost in a forest and stumbled upon an old house. When she entered it, she saw a witch. She wasn't evil, though, so she said she could help Allison find a way home if she cracked a riddle. The witch asked Allison, "What kind of room can you neither enter nor leave?" Allison was smart, so she gave the right answer. "Can you crack it too?" I told you the witch wasn't evil. She even gave a small hint. Do you see a mushroom in her hand? Right, the answer is mushroom. A detective got an anonymous email about an upcoming heist in one of New York's museums. To stop it from happening, he needs to know the month the heist is planned for. Later, the police managed to find a clue. It was a note with a secret code. The police couldn't crack it, so they brought it to the detective. What month is the heist planned for? The detective cracked the code almost immediately. A jar in the picture stands for J, a ukulele stands for U, a nugget stands for N, and an eggplant stands for E. Ah, June. There are 70 floors in the apartment building. The higher the floor, the more people live there. Which floor does the elevator go to most often? It's the first floor. The residents of all floors go down to the first floor. A luxurious spa center got an anonymous call. Someone called to report a lady that's planning to steal expensive jewelry from the spa center visitors. The staff went to look for that lady to escort her out. Can you find her? Look, there's a lady having a pedicure. She doesn't look suspicious, but she's the only one who's not wearing a special bracelet. Security! The other day, Kelly was rummaging around her auntie's attic when she accidentally stumbled upon 5 short chains, each made of 4 silver links. She thought it could be great if she combined them all into one big chain of 20 links. When she went back to town, she brought those tiny chains to a jeweler. He told her it would cost $5 for each silver link that he would have to break and then reseal. How much will the chain cost? Kelly could do that for $25 if she told the jeweler to break a link in each chain. But she was really smart, So she asked the jeweler to break all 4 links in one chain and use them to attach the other chains, which cost her $20. A wise king decided to find someone who could replace him. He wanted to make a challenge, and the one who nailed it would become the new king. Anyone who wanted to take the throne needed to put a whole cucumber into a glass bottle without cutting the cucumber or damaging the bottle. The participants had a week to do it. This challenge seemed to be impossible, so only 5 people decided to take part, and there was only one winner. How did he put the cucumber in the bottle? He placed a baby cucumber, still on its stem, into the bottle. Cucumbers grow rather fast, so he had enough time to win that competition. And now he's king. They set the bar kinda low, didn't they? Joanna and Josh were on their honeymoon in Italy. On the first day, they went on a city tour around Venice and left all their stuff in the hotel room. When they came back, someone was standing outside their door, trying to get in. The couple called the receptionist right away, but the man claimed Joanna and Josh owed him some money for the tours they'd taken in the past 4 days. The reception knew the man was lying right away. How did he figure it out? It was the couple's first day in the hotel. There's a barrel of water in the yard. You look inside and say that it's more than half full, but your friend argues that it's less than half full. How can you figure out who's right without using any measuring tools or removing water from the barrel? Tilt the barrel so that the water touches its rim. If you can see the bottom, the barrel's less than half full. If the bottom is still covered with water, it's more. 2 couples are about to get married. The hall is full of guests. The brides look stunning in these long white gowns, and the grooms seem to be completely happy. All of a sudden, one of the guests notices there's something wrong with one of the couples. Can you guess what? Look at this couple. These folks have no reflection at all. They must be vampires. In one of the galaxies, there's Planet Pink. There are many people, but few animals. Only hens and roosters live there. They can be of 3 different colors: pink, red, and yellow. Andrew went to that planet to see his friends for the weekend, and while he was walking down the street, he saw 3 bird couples in love. No bird can be with a partner of the same color. Can you guess the color of the partner of the red hen? It's the yellow rooster. The red hen can't go out with the red one, and the pink rooster, as you see, is madly in love with the yellow hen. Emily's aunt has bought a bottle of perfume for her niece's birthday. Sadly, she couldn't keep it, because Helga, her sister, is terribly allergic to perfumes. Emily brought it back to her aunt, who bought it for $65. The old lady sold it to someone for $80. Then she suddenly remembered she had one more niece, so she got it back for $70. Sally, the forgotten niece, turned out to be allergic too, so the auntie had to sell it again for $60. Did she make any profit? Yep, she made $5 and grabbed a frappuccino for the same amount. You're trapped in a room that's slowly getting filled with water coming from a faucet in the wall. There are no windows in the room, and the door is sealed shut. You have a mop and a big bucket. So how are you going to get yourself out of this one? This one was simple. You just need to turn the faucet off. Sally works as a barista. She's the one who served Emily's aunt with that frappuccino. This morning, she dropped a cup full of coffee. Luckily, her white shirt wasn't stained, but it took her a while to clean up the mess. How come? There were coffee beans in the cup. They ended up right under the counter. After the bank had been robbed, the police found the money in the park among cacti. The police officers arrested all the suspects, and they almost immediately figured out who the bank robber was. Can you do the same in 10 seconds? This guy on the left has scratches left by cacti all over his body. Dennis was at home watching TV. All of a sudden, his wife's super expensive vase fell and broke in their bedroom. He ran into the room in time to see a stranger jump out the window and run away. Dennis tried to chase him, but his glasses fogged up because of the cold. That's why he couldn't identify who it was. When the police arrived, they listened to his story and immediately knew he was lying. Dennis made this story up not to tell his wife that he had broken the vase. How did they know this? Anyone who wears glasses knows that they don't fog up when you go from a warm room to the cold outdoors. It's the other way around.
Hi, my favorite detective! I've got a new portion of tricky riddles for you to train your sharp mind. Let's start!
Yeah!
One summer night, Emily threw a big party. But in the morning, she discovered that someone had stolen all her jewelry and money.
Oh no!
The police have 3 suspects: Daniel, Emily's boyfriend, Lily, her best friend, and Hannah, the girl's sister. Daniel told the police that he'd been playing computer games with his friend all night long. Lily felt sick and went home in the middle of the night. She said she knew nothing about the theft when the police called her. And Hannah said that she had stayed at the party till 7 a.m. and then had taken a taxi home because nobody could give her a lift. It was dark and she couldn't see anything. Who was lying? Hannah. At 7 a.m. in the summer, it's already light outside. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing rooms. The police had 3 suspects, and all of them were from his team. Brandon said that after the training, he'd stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more. He hadn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swore that after the training, he had gone outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James said, "When I was leaving the changing room, the coach was still there." Who's behind the disappearance of the coach? It's Brandon. He said he hadn't been to the changing room yet. But look, he's wearing not his uniform, but his street clothes. Once, a mad professor kidnapped Zoe and held her in his house. Was he planning to experiment on her? There was no way the young woman could escape. But one day, the scientist got bored.
"You'll have to make breakfast for me tomorrow. If I like it, I'll let you go. If not, no one will hear about you again."
In the morning, Zoe went to the kitchen and started cooking. But when she turned away from the stove, the scientist threw a whole box of salt into the pot. However, when Zoe served him breakfast, he realized he had to set the girl free. Can you figure out what Zoe cooked? The girl boiled eggs. A man on a motorbike crashed into the window of Mr. Ruby's store, grabbed several expensive watches, and drove away. When the police arrived, Mr. Ruby told them that he was almost sure it had been his nephew, Patrick. The officers went to visit the guy. Because of a heavy downpour, it took them 1 hour to get there. Patrick was at home, together with his friend. "Look at the weather. I haven't been outside since yesterday." Patrick's friend confirmed his words, but the police didn't believe their story and arrested Patrick. Why? The guy's helmet is hanging on his motorbike. If it had been there since the previous day, it would have been filled with rainwater by now. 4 friends went to a cafe together. 2 of them, Linda and Mike, ordered a large pot of blueberry tea. Kirsten took some lemonade, and Oscar opted for orange juice. Half an hour later, Linda and Mike lost consciousness and were rushed to a hospital. When the police analyzed the tea they had drunk, they found poison in it. The main suspects were, of course, Kirsten and Oscar. Why didn't they drink the tea? Kirsten said that she didn't like tea with berries, and Oscar explained that he was allergic to blackberries. Who is the culprit? It's Oscar. He said he was allergic to blackberries, but the tea his friends drank was with blueberries. David worked at a construction site. Once, someone attacked him, and the unconscious man was taken to a hospital. Police officers who arrived to investigate the case had 3 suspects who also worked at the construction site: Alex, Ryan, and John. Alex said, "I was putting all tiles on the roof when the accident happened." Ryan confessed that he'd been sleeping under the tree, and John claimed that he'd been laying bricks at that time. Can you figure out who's lying? Alex was the one to hurt David. The building has no roof yet, so he couldn't be putting tiles up there. You've bought a cute little rabbit at a pet store. The animal can breed every 2 months, and every time it will deliver 5 babies. How many rabbits will you have in a year? You'll have just 1 rabbit. If you want to have little bunnies, you have to buy 2 rabbits. Look at these people attentively. Who is a mer person? Pay attention to every little detail. It's the guy on the right. Look, his hands are webbed. Allison won the main prize of $1 million on a game show. But when the shooting was over, it turned out that the host of the show had disappeared, together with the prize. The police managed to log into the computer in his office. They saw that the host had sent this message to his girlfriend. It looked like the host had told his girlfriend where he was going. The police went to the airport, but which flight was the host going to catch? Can you figure it out? Now let's see, the first 2 letters of Atlas are A-T. If we take 3 letters from the word land, it'll leave us with L-A-N. And the 2 first letters of tattoo are T-A. Together, these letters make up the word Atlanta. Hurry to the gate, officers! Jack got lost in the woods. Suddenly, he saw a castle. The man rushed there and was greeted by the owner of the castle.
You have to answer just 1 question. If you win, I'll show you the way out of the forest. But if you lose, you'll never leave my castle.
Jack agreed. The owner asked,
There are 4 mirrors on the wall. One of them reflects fire-spitting dragon Niren. The second, beautiful mermaid Laura. In the 3rd mirror, you can see a terrifying vampire Sam. And in the 4th, unicorn David. You have to figure out which reflection isn't real, and fast!
The reflection of Vampire Sam isn't real. Vampires can't be reflected in mirrors. A businessman arrived at his office after a long trip and discovered that some important documents had disappeared from his desk. He immediately called the police, and a detective arrived shortly after. After interviewing all the workers, he had a list with 3 suspects on it. They were Emma, the accountant, Sophia, the receptionist, and James, a sales manager. But each of these people claimed that they hadn't even been inside the businessman's office. Still, it didn't take long until the detective figured out who was lying. Can you do the same? The thief is James. Both women wear high heels in the office, but the footprints on the floor are obviously left by sneakers. You throw me when you need me and pick me up when you don't need me. Can you figure out what I am? Right you are. I'm an anchor. How can you increase 66 by 1.5 if you aren't allowed to make any mathematical operations? Hurry up and crack this riddle. Just turn 66 upside down. It was Mr. and Mrs. Smith's wedding anniversary, and Mrs. Smith was going to put on diamond earrings her husband had presented her for their wedding. But when she opened her jewelry box, she saw that the earrings weren't there. She called her daughters, Dora and Laura. "I've told you so many times not to touch my things. Who took my jewelry this time?" Dora exclaimed, "I haven't touched your jewelry box." Laura also denied taking her mom's stuff. "I don't even wear earrings." Can you figure out which girl is lying? It was Laura who stole the earrings. Her mom didn't specify which piece of jewelry was missing. Billy is a young and ambitious blogger. She's shooting a makeup tutorial for her TikTok. Can you spot anything odd here? The mirror in the background should reflect her back, not her front part. Billy gets an invitation to visit a meetup for famous influencers. This party is epic. Good music, delicious food, and beautiful people. Moreover, every VIP guest gets a bag full of expensive gifts. Suddenly, Billy sees Sebastian. He's a famous video blogger with 20 million followers. And her secret crush. Can you guess which one of these guys is Sebastian? The first guy looks pretty chic, but he has a fake bag, so it's unlikely that he's an influencer. Let's take a look at the remaining two guys. Sebastian has millions of followers. Therefore, he's 100% a VIP guest. Only the third guy carries the gift bag, so he's Sebastian. Billy and Sebastian fall in love, but they want to keep it a secret. That's why they spend a romantic weekend in a forest cabin away from the paparazzi. But unfortunately, someone leaked their picture, and now all the tabloids discuss their secret date. Only 3 people knew about this trip. Billy questions them. Harry, the driver, says, "I brought you to the cabin on Saturday and picked you up on Sunday, just like you asked. I didn't tell anyone because I signed a non-disclosure agreement." Billy's assistant, Amy, says, "I booked the cabin under my own name so that no one would figure out that you're hosting celebrities." And Sebastian's sister, Bianca, says, "I didn't tell anyone about your date. I was feeling sick. I had to stay home alone because my daughters were at school." Who's lying? Bianca, schools are closed on weekends. A new spa salon invites Billy over for a promotion campaign. She goes to the pedicure room and sees these 3 clients. One of them is a werewolf. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Take a look at her feet. After the sauna, Billy goes to the shower and washes her hair. Unfortunately, someone pranked her by replacing the shampoo with paint. Can you guess who did it? The lady on the right is guilty. There's paint on her hand. Billy decides to eat in her favorite restaurant. She enters and sees these 3 guys. Can you guess who's having a date? It looks like the first guy is having a romantic dinner with his book. And the third gentleman has 1 set of dishes. Meanwhile, the second guy has 2 plates on his table and he's hiding a small gift in his pocket. So he's the only one who's waiting for his date. Sebastian invites Billy to a family dinner to introduce her to his mother, Prudence. They arrive and find her in the middle of a quarrel with the police. Prudence claims that her housemaid stole her antique pearl necklace, but the housemaid denies everything. Who's lying? Prudence. The pearls are in her hair. The next day, Billy goes hiking with her friends. They take some pictures for her blog. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Over here. What about these 2 pictures? Can you find 5 differences? Here they are. Billy meets her old friends. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. Billy has to make a quick phone call, and she walks outside. In a couple of minutes, she comes back and sees her friend Luna lying unconscious on the bathroom floor. There's a weird mark on her cheek. The waitress says that it looks like a vampire's bite. One of Billy's friends must have turned into a vampire. She decides to invite her friends for lunch to find out who exactly. Guys, let's have a picnic on the beach tomorrow and discuss who bit Luna. How can Billy identify the vampire? Billy should invite her friends to the beach. The one who would refuse to go there must be a vampire. Billy throws a birthday party at her house. She only eats plants. That's why she hires the most trendy cook to prepare a classy vegetarian dinner. The party goes great. Everyone has fun. The next day, Billy finds out that someone had replaced salt and sugar in her kitchen jars. Billy questions 4 suspects. The cook says, "Miss, I wouldn't have become a celebrity chef if I wasted my time on silly pranks." Dan says, "I gorged myself on chicken nuggets at the very beginning of the party, and then I stayed away from the kitchen and the food." Emma says, "I think I saw someone rummaging through the kitchen when I was swimming in the pool." And Sebastian says, "That wasn't me, but you should check everyone's phones. The prankster probably filmed everything." Who's lying? Dan, it was a veggie party. He couldn't have eaten the chicken nuggets. Billy wants to find her new business partners, so she's visiting a conference and meets 3 people. Each person offers Billy a collaboration. Megan says, "I developed my own fashion line and I've recently launched my first offline boutique. Would you like to be the face of my brand?" Jeanette says, "I run the largest marketing company in the country. If you sign an exclusive contract with me, I'll find the best deals for you." And Francois says, "Lady, you should sell beauty products under your own name. I can help you launch a business." Only one of these offers isn't fake. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at Francois. He has stolen someone else's badge, so he's an imposter. And Jeanette is wearing a waitress uniform under her fancy jacket. It's unlikely that she's a company owner, so Billy should trust Megan. The next week, Megan invites Billy to a photo shoot. Billy arrives at the studio, but the door is locked. She needs to enter a 5-number code. Her phone battery has discharged, and unfortunately, she doesn't remember the code by heart. Do you have any clue what it might be? We should take a look at this poster and count the number of petals in each daisy. So the code is 58677. Billy enters the studio and sees Megan, the photographer and stylist, and a bunch of pretty clothes and shoes. Can you count the exact number of shoes in this picture? The correct answer is 13. 4 people are wearing 8 shoes, plus 5 more are scattered around the studio. The photo shoot is about to begin, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Billy finds out that her smartwatch is missing. She questions 3 suspects. The stylist says, "I was cleaning my makeup sponge when the lights turned off. I didn't move from my place." The photographer says, "I have my own smartwatch. Why would I need yours?" And Megan says, "Come on, you're a famous influencer. Why would I ruin my own reputation?" Who's lying? The photographer. Billy's watch is wrapped around his camera lens. After work, Billy meets Sebastian in their favorite restaurant. They ask the waiter to take their picture. He takes 2. Can you spot 10 differences between them? Here they are. After dinner, they go for a walk. Can you spot 3 odd things here? Fish swim on the surface of this window. Also, this lady is wearing a snake instead of a scarf. And this taxi is driven by a raccoon. Harry uploads a dating app, hoping to find a girlfriend. He likes these 3 ladies, but 2 of them are not single. Can you guess who? The second lady has 2 shampoos on a bathroom shelf. One for her curly hair and one shampoo for male hair and beards. So she's probably living with her husband. And the third lady is wearing a necklace in the shape of half a heart. The second half probably belongs to her boyfriend. So only the first lady is single. Early in the morning, Harry goes to the local park for a workout. He sees these 3 runners on the way. Can you decide who's faster? The second one. What about these cyclists? Who's the fastest? The third one. After the workout, Harry enters his favorite cafe and sees a lot of people. All the tables are occupied, but one person already finished eating. Can you guess who? This guy. There's money on his table. Harry looks around the cafe and sees a crying woman. Can you guess why she's so upset? She's crying because her friend is pulling her hair. Harry is flying business class to another city. There are 4 women in the cabin. One of them is smuggling gold. Can you guess who? The fourth one. Her belly is unnaturally square. So he goes to the park and gets attacked by a crowd of zombies. Harry is terrified. He begins to run away. There are 3 possible routes in front of him, but only one of these routes will actually take him to a shelter. Can you help Harry find the correct way? Route A doesn't look simple, but it's the only way out. Harry is visiting an engagement party. His brother Kevin proposes to his girlfriend Bella with a fancy diamond ring. And she says yes. The party goes well, but suddenly, the lights turn off for 20 seconds. When the power is back again, Bella sees that someone has sneaked an engagement ring from her finger. Harry questions 3 suspects. Peter says,
I was cutting a cake in the kitchen when the lights turned off.
Allie says, I was playing the piano in the living room when suddenly it became super dark, but I'm a pro, so I continued to play blindly. And Kitty says, sorry, I've been arguing on the phone with my ex-boyfriend, so I didn't look around. Who's lying? Allie. She said she was playing the piano, but there are no musical instruments in the living room. At the party, Harry meets a pretty lady named Monica. He falls in love with her at first sight, but unfortunately, she's already married. Can you guess which one of these guys is her spouse? It's the first guy. He's the only one who doesn't hold any drink, and Monica is holding 2 glasses, one for herself and one for her husband. The party goes on and Harry meets Vlad. He's a real vampire. One of these ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The first lady's not a vampire. She bit this cookie and smeared her red lipstick. And the second one is wearing a garlic necklace, probably to chase away evil powers. Meanwhile, the third lady has sharp ears and red eyes, so she's probably a vampire just like Vlad. But the task was to spot Vlad's wife. Nobody said that she's necessarily a vampire. Take a look at the first lady's ring finger. She has a ruby ring that's similar to Vlad's. Therefore, she's his spouse. Harry runs a hardware store chain. He arrives at one of the shops to investigate a theft. The manager says,
This morning I found out that some Xboxes are missing. They could be stolen yesterday. Only 2 guys worked last night. One of them must be the thief. Personally, I think it was Bob.
Harry asks, why do you think so?
I talked to both of them. Bob said that he saw nothing suspicious, and Zach said that he'd seen Bob put some boxes in the back seat of his car.
Harry asks the manager to take him to Bob. They approach Bob at the parking lot. Harry says, now I'm pretty sure that Zach is guilty. Why did Harry think so? Zach said Bob put some boxes in the back seat of his car. However, Bob has a 2-seat car. Harry calls the police and they arrest Zach. The manager decides to change the 7-number password on the storage door to avoid further thefts. He leaves this little clue for all his colleagues. Can you crack this code? The number of fingers implies 5. The number of angles in the triangle implies 3. The number of petals in the flower is 6. The circle implies 0. The rainbow has 7 colors. It symbolizes the number 7. And finally, the square has 4 angles, so the passcode is 536074. Harry figures out the code and changes it again to test Bob's intelligence. Harry gives him the following clue. It's a 7-digit code. The first digit is the number of zeros in the code. The second digit is the number of ones in it. The third digit is the number of 2s. The fourth digit is the number of 3s. The fifth digit is the number of 4s. The sixth digit reveals the number of 5s. And finally, the 7th digit shows the number of 6s. Can you figure out the code? The correct answer is 3211000. Harry goes on a road trip. He stops in the middle of a desert to take pictures. Can you spot 3 odd things? Harry's shadow falls to the right, and the shadows from the cacti fall to the left. He's in the desert, but this cactus is growing in a pot, and this lizard is wearing tiny shoes. Harry rents a room in a motel for a couple of days. Unfortunately, he has a very annoying neighbor, Karen. They're arguing all the time. One day, Karen calls the local security and accuses Harry of stealing her towel. It's been raining all day long, so I didn't go to the beach and stayed in my room. Harry grabbed my beach towel from this rope. I could see from my window. He folded it and put it into his backpack. The guard immediately realizes that Karen is lying. How? The rope is outdoors. It doesn't make any sense to dry towels in the rain. Harry purchases a tour to see the local waterfalls. He takes a nap on the bus. Then he wakes up and sees that his favorite baseball cap is missing. Harry interrogates 3 tourists nearby. Sally says, "Sorry, I was sleeping too. I don't know who did it." Oliver says, "Look at me, I don't wear baseball caps, man. I prefer classy hats." And Molly says, "I think it was Sally. She's very suspicious. I'm almost sure that she tried to steal my chocolates when I fell asleep." Can you spot the thief? It was Oliver. He hid Harry's cap under his classy hat. Harry enters the local bakery. Rosie, the barista, is very upset. "I have so many coffee orders, but someone stole all the beans from the storage room." Harry interrogates 3 suspects. Louis, the cook, says,
I spent the whole day in the kitchen baking croissants, and I'm just working on a new batch. I don't have time to talk to you.
Ron, the waiter, says, "I forgot to set my alarm, so I overslept and arrived just now. I don't know who sneaked the beans." And finally, Dan, the manager, says,
I've been talking to one dissatisfied customer all morning. She was so annoying. I didn't have the chance to look around.
who's lying? The cook. There are no croissants either in the kitchen or in the bakery window. Okay, let's begin with some riddles where you need to think outside the box just to kickstart your brain.
Yeah.
Here's the first one. You walk out of the house and see 5 pieces of coal, a carrot, and a scarf lying on the lawn. No one put them there intentionally, and yet there's a perfectly reasonable explanation of how they ended up on the lawn. What's the explanation? Someone made a snow person, and then it melted. 2 sisters were born in the same year, on the same day, and at the same hour. Still, they're not twins. How can it be? Do you have any ideas? If they're not twins, then they should be born in a set of triplets or quadruplets, and so on. Kendra went to a birthday party her classmate threw. She drank some lemonade with ice, chilled for an hour, and left early because she had an appointment in the morning. Everyone else at the party who had drunk the lemonade didn't show up at school the next day because of poisoning. Why did Kendra feel okay, even though she had the same drink? The poison must have been in ice cubes, but Kendra finished her drink and left early, so the ice cubes didn't have enough time to melt. Madison and Mackenzie are twins. One day, Madison celebrated her birthday. 2 days later, it was the birthday of Mackenzie, who was the elder twin. Can you come up with a plausible explanation of how it's possible? Here's one. Their mother went into labor at night from February 28th to March 1st while she was traveling. Mackenzie was born first when March 1st had just started. Right after that, they must have entered a different time zone, which was an hour behind. So it was February 28th again. That's when Madison was born. The year they celebrated their birthdays 2 days apart must have been a leap year, with February 29th squeezing in between their birthdays. Crazy, I know. A man walks into a bar and asks the bartender for a glass of water. The bartender jumps out from behind the bar wearing a scary mask. The man says, "Thank you," and walks out of the bar without drinking that glass of water. Why did he thank the bartender? The man had hiccups. That's why he needed a glass of water. But the bartender scared him, and the hiccups were gone. So he didn't need the water anymore. The man thanked the bartender for helping him. Ellie and Nell were sent by their moms to sell cookies for $1 each. Both girls had an equal number of cookies. Neither girl was allowed to eat the cookies she was selling, and they could return only after they sold all of them. Hours later, there were still no customers. The girls really wanted to go home, but they didn't want to break any rules. After a bit of thinking, they managed to sell all the cookies, but neither of the girls gained or lost a single dollar. How is it possible? Ellie and Nell just started to buy each other's cookies, paying $1 each. Since they had an equal number of cookies, neither of them gained or lost anything. But both ended up full and happy, without breaking any rules. In a small but touristic French town, there is a store called 7 Bells. But as you can see, there are just 6 of them hanging on the door. And it's always been like this. What is the reason? Originally, it was a mistake. But so many tourists started to walk into the store to tell the owner about it that it began to bring in quite a few customers. So, the owner just kept it this way. A witch had 3 daughters, Allegra, Helena, and Rowena. The witch was about to retire, so she needed to pick a daughter to pass all her magical powers to, and she didn't know which daughter was the most loyal to her. All of them possessed some magic that they were granted when they were born. Allegra had a magic ball that could show her any person she knew. Helena had a bag of magic dust that could transport her anywhere she wanted. Rowena had a never-rotting pear with healing powers. It would cure any disease. One day, the witch went missing. Her old nemesis kidnapped and poisoned her. The daughters came to her rescue. Allegra used the ball to locate their mother. Helena used some of her dust to go there and bring their mother home. And Rowena fed her the pear. The witch felt better. All of her daughters proved their loyalty to her. But the witch still knew who she would pass her powers to. Who? She decided to pass the powers to Rowena. While all 3 daughters rescued her, Rowena made the biggest sacrifice since her magical artifact was gone, while Allegra and Helena still had theirs. Now let's check how attentive you are. Look, here's a ball and 3 cups. I'll put the ball here in the middle cup. Your task is to watch the cups and then tell me where the ball is. Ready? Go! So where's the ball? Look, it's here. Did you get it? Okay, let's try again. Now, I have 4 cups, and I'll be moving them faster. I put the ball right here. Watch it. So where do you think it is? It's in this cup. And let's make it almost impossible and see if you can get it now. 5 cups, and they're moving even faster than before. So where is it? It's right here. If you got it right, you have my absolute respect. Eliza was grounded for 2 weeks after failing her math test. She wasn't allowed to see any of her friends, and she had to spend all her time studying. One night, her mother had a night shift and only returned home the next afternoon. She came to check on her daughter. She knew immediately that Eliza's friend had come for a sleepover. How did she figure it out? Take a close look at Eliza's bedroom. There's a mattress on the floor with a blanket and pillows on it. 2 best friends, Rowan and Brandon, both wanted to ask the same girl, Ruby, to the prom. So the friends decided to ask Ruby's best friend who Ruby liked more. The girl didn't want to share her best friend's secrets, but she gave the guys a hint. Ruby loves raspberries but can't stand blueberries. She likes rowing, but she doesn't know how to play basketball. Her favorite animal is a rabbit, but she's afraid of bears. Which of the boys does Ruby like? It seems like she likes everything that starts with the letter R and isn't a fan of things starting with a B. Following the same logic, she must like Rowan. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 teenage kids, all of whom happened to be grounded at the same time. She noticed that the car was parked differently outside, so she figured out that one of the teens had driven somewhere. She asked who had taken the car, but no one admitted to doing it. James said, "I was writing music in my room. I didn't go anywhere today." Ariana said, "I had been taking a shower and only got out right before you arrived." And Oakley said, "I was studying for my math test on Thursday. I don't want to get grounded for 2 more weeks. I have a birthday party to attend later this month." Who's lying? Ariana must be lying. If she had really gotten out of the shower, her hair would be wet, but it's not. Okay, great job. Now it's time to have some fun. I'll show you some emojis, and your task is to guess which movie they stand for. Here's the first set for you. What do you think? Yes, of course, it's Forrest Gump. Good job! Here's the next one. What's your guess? The old classic, Alice in Wonderland. It can't be anything else. This one is coming back to our screens this year. Can you guess which movie it is? Of course, it's The Little Mermaid. This one's a bit harder. Let's see, what's your guess? It's I Am Legend with Will Smith. Did you get it right? It was fun playing with you. Hey, Brightsiders, how about giving your sharp mind a shake? Then put on your detective hat and listen attentively. One day, Johnson woke up and immediately felt that something was wrong. While sleeping, he somehow turned into a metal robot. Johnson looked around. The place where he woke up seemed to be a dungeon, dark, damp, and very cold. There were 3 corridors leading out of that place. The first passage had a treacherous floor. Some of its panels could collapse, sending people into an abyss. Massive boulders fell from the ceiling of the second corridor every 30 seconds. And the third passage was filled with giant cacti, whose thorns were covered in poison. Which corridor is the safest? Johnson picked the third corridor. Thorns would do no harm to his now metal body, even the ones covered in poison. Mila was locked in a jail cell. It was rather small, with a dirt floor and a small window high above the ground. The only thing she saw was a tiny shovel in the corner. In a couple of hours, Mila managed to break free from the cell. How did she do it? She dug a hole in the floor. Then she made a pile using the soil, climbed on top of it, and escaped through the window. A student failed an important exam, but the professor decided to give him another chance. She said, "If you crack my riddle, I'll let you take the exam again. 2 plus 2 is the same as 2 times 2. Find a set of 3 whole numbers whose sum will be the same as their total when multiplied." The student didn't need much time to figure out the answer. These numbers are 1, 2, and 3. One guy decided to become a scuba diver, but during his first dive, he got dazed and disoriented. He couldn't figure out which way he should swim to get to the surface. Soon, he also noticed he was running out of air. He started panicking. Can you help the poor guy find his way to the surface? He should swim in the directions where bubbles go. Yay! You've saved him. Great job! A unique diamond was on exhibition in a famous museum. It was guarded at all times, and only a small group of 10 people were allowed to enter the room. After one of such groups had left, an alarm went off. The guards ran into the room and found a young man there. When they searched him, they found nothing extraordinary. Just several bills, a lighter, a bottle of soda, a camera, and a smartphone. The guards had to let the man go, but the next morning, it was announced that the diamond had been stolen. How did it happen? The man replaced the real diamond with a fake one and hid the real treasure in his bottle of soda. Emma came to the office on Monday and found out that someone had deleted an important report from her computer. She knew that in the company there were 3 people who would be happy if she lost her job. She decided to question the suspects. Laura, Emma's colleague, said, "I've just arrived. The weather is awful, such a downpour." Thomas, the accountant, answered,
I was out buying coffee and have just returned.
And Eliza, a new employee, said, "I had a meeting with a client in a cafe. I've just come back to the office." Who has anything to do with Emma's report? Eliza. Pay attention to the suspect's feet. Thomas and Laura's shoes are wet. They got caught in the rain. But Eliza's high heels are perfectly dry. She must have lied about going out to meet with a client. You wake up and find yourself trapped in a room. There's only a mattress to sleep on, some food, a small knife, a water dispenser, and a large water bottle. It's enough for you to survive for 2 days. There are 3 doors in the room. The corridor behind the first one is filled with toxic gas. Behind the second door, the hall is swarming with venomous snakes. And if you opt for the third door, you'll find yourself in a giant aquarium with hungry sharks. Which door should you choose? Empty the water dispenser and cut its top part with the help of the knife. Then put it over your head so that no air can get inside. Then leave fast enough through the first door. Imagine finding yourself in a room with 4 doors and a deep pit in the middle. Behind the first door, there's a ferocious tiger. The space behind the second door is filled with bubbling lava. The third door prevents poisonous gas from leaking into the room. And the fourth door leads to a tiny storage room with no windows. You have to decide fast how to get out of this trap. You should open the first door. When the tiger jumps at you, you should step aside. The animal will fall into the pit, and you will be able to escape through the first room. Look at poor Amanda. She dozed off during a lecture, and when she woke up, she discovered someone had ruined her hair. Can you figure out who did it? The culprit is the guy on the right. Look, there are scissors sticking out of his pocket. Mickey woke up in a small room without windows. She didn't know how she got there. The girl noticed a door with a combination lock on it. And on the floor next to her, there was a note. Spelled forward were those rodents that terrify you. But what you need is spelled backward. You can't touch it, but you see it at night. What is the password? The rodents the note speaks about are rats. Then the word Mickey needs is star. Now, this riddle might seem kinda cruel, but try not to take it seriously and think outside the box. So, what happens to a person whose whole left side gets cut off? They're all right now. Heh, told you it wasn't too bad. Jack reached the final of a popular game show. Now, if he wanted to get his prize, he had to pass the last challenge. He entered a large hall with 3 cardboard boxes in the center. One of them had white balls inside. The second contained black balls, and the third was filled with black and white balls. The boxes were sealed and labeled, but all the labels were wrong. Jack was allowed to open one box, pick a ball, check its color, and put the ball back into the box. How many times would the man have to repeat this action to label all the boxes correctly? Jack managed to do it after picking just one ball. He chose the box labeled BW, which stood for black and white. Since all labels were wrong, it could be either BB or WW. He pulled out a black ball, so the box was actually BB. Then, logically, Jack figured out the rest of the boxes. Now, let's check how attentive you are. 3 guys were playing hide and seek. One of them hid in the kitchen. Can you help his friends find him? Yep, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to squeeze into the oven. Now, I've got a tricky but fun task for you. I'll be showing you different emoji combinations, and you'll need to figure out what Disney movies they stand for. Let's start with these emojis. What movie is hidden here? Right, it's 101 Dalmatians. The next one for you. That's The Little Mermaid. How about this very popular one? I believe these days there's no person who doesn't know about Frozen. And the last one for you. I admit this one might have been a bit tough. Have you recognized Wall-E? In a city's museum, an expensive golden egg covered in diamonds went missing. The museum workers noticed it in the morning and, of course, they immediately reported the theft to the police. The city's best detective started investigating the case. She carefully looked through the footage and identified 3 main suspects. Then she saw a handprint on the glass the egg was placed behind. Take a look at these handprints and at the suspect's hands. Who is guilty? It's this person right here. Look, the prints of the fingers aren't full because something came in the way. This person is wearing rings right there, so it's their print. In a little town, someone stole an expensive silver collar for a cat, covered in diamonds and precious gems. The shop's owner called the police, and the investigation started. There were 3 suspects. Mr. Johnson said,
I came to look for earrings for my daughter's birthday. We don't have any pets.
Mrs. Martin said, I got a bracelet for myself. I didn't steal anything. Mrs. Tanner said,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The thief is Mr. Johnson. There are cat footprints in his garden, so the family obviously has a pet. There was a robber in the city, and no one could catch him for several months. After another incident, the police saw the robber entering a hospital. They walked in and ran into 2 doctors. Which one of them is fake and is actually the robber? It's this guy, the one who's wearing headphones instead of the stethoscope. Mrs. Stevens went on a 3-month vacation, but had her workers coming regularly to maintain the house. When she returned, she realized that one of the workers was skipping quite a bit of work once in a while, going on an unplanned vacation themselves. Who was it? A gardener who takes care of the outside garden, a housekeeper who takes care of everything in the house, or a painter who is coming to paint her house. It's the housekeeper. Look, the houseplants dried out. Seems like he skipped a couple of weeks of work and probably only cleaned the house right before Mrs. Stevens returned. Do you think you can figure out who the bride of this man is? It's this woman right here. Look, she has the same tattoo as this guy. A small city's police got a message that monsters silently flooded the town and now live among humans. It's not a problem, but the police decided to identify them all to keep an eye on them. Can you help the police identify in which houses the monsters live? Here's the first task. You see 2 houses and a vampire lives in one of them. Which one? It must be this house, the dark one where the blinds are closed on all the windows. Vampires don't like sunlight. Okay, the next task is to find the house of a mummy. Here are 2 possible options. Which house does the mummy live in? This one. Look, there are bandages around the house. The next creature whose residence we need to identify is a gnome. Take a look inside 2 houses. Can you tell where the gnome lives? Probably in this house. All furniture is smaller and placed way lower than in the other house, so it must be the residence of someone small, like a gnome. Now, we need to find the house of a centaur. Take a close look at both houses. Can you identify the one? This one right here. See, there are horse prints on the pathways to the house. The last one. A real witch lives in one of these houses. Can you tell where you're most likely to be bewitched? Did you notice this cute black cat? That's a famous witch sidekick, so my bet is on this house. On a cold January night, Delaney was found unconscious in the cloakroom when her best friend Jane came looking for her. She was at a house party with a bunch of college students. The police interrogated several students, asking where they were around the time of the accident. Allison said, "I was upstairs all the time, dancing with my friends." Liam said, "I went to a kiosk to pick up some candy for my girlfriend. There were only drinks and chips." Oliver said,
I was talking to a girl. She seems to like me.
Who should have been taken to the police station? Liam. It's a cold night, and he would need a jacket to go to a kiosk. And if he needed a jacket, he would go into the cloakroom to get it, and would have found Delaney instead of Jane. So either he lied or walked past an unconscious girl. Ronan Collins, a successful businessman, went missing. His family reported it to the police. The main suspect was Ronan's business partner, Jennifer. She had been out of the city, but as soon as she returned, the police knocked on her door and asked if she knew something about Ronan's disappearance 2 weeks prior. "I just returned from my month-long trip to the Amazon rainforest an hour ago. I haven't heard anything about it." The detective didn't believe her right away and took her to the station for further investigation. Why? From the photos, we can clearly see that Jennifer dyes her hair. She says that she just returned from her trip, which was a whole month long. But her hair is perfectly dyed. Some roots would grow out. So, she's lying at least about something. Esme was having a walk in a forest and got lost. But she found the house of a witch, walked in, petted her black cat, and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy operating on a frog, a rat, and a crow. She was using magical healing gloves, but she only had 2 pairs, so she needed Esme's help to figure it out, and then she'd take her home. How can she operate on all 3 animals with the 2 pairs of magical gloves, but remain sanitary? The witch should operate on the frog wearing the first pair of gloves over the second one. Then, she should operate on the rat using just the second pair. Finally, she should operate on the crow wearing the first gloves inside out, worn over the second glove. Detective Callum had to travel to a small neighboring city where dogs were being kidnapped every night, right out of the house. There were already 4 of them missing, and all of them were living on the same street. Mila was kidnapped first, then Karma the next night. After that, it was Jake, and then Mr. Sniffer. There were just 3 dogs left that lived on the street. Can you figure out which dog is going to be the next target? Look carefully at the dogs that were kidnapped, or actually at their collars. The first dog that was kidnapped has a red collar. Karma has an orange collar. Then Jake was wearing a yellow one, and Mr. Sniffers owned a green one. Seems like they're being kidnapped in order of rainbow colors. So, the next target should be this dog, the one wearing the blue collar. Mason called the police, reporting that his metal safe box with his savings was stolen. He walked into his bedroom right in time to spot the robber throwing the safe out of the window and disappearing in the window right after. So, Mason wanted the robber caught, or his insurance to pay him the money he had lost. The detective came to investigate. "Did you touch anything in the room after the incident?" he asked. "No, I came straight to you." "Then there was no robber," the detective concluded. "Why?" The robber couldn't go out of the window without stepping on the bed that was standing right by the window, but the bed is perfectly made. How is it possible if Mason didn't touch it? Hey there! Today, we'll test your visual attention and intelligence. Let's see if you have a sharp eye, shall we? Let's start by training your eyes for today's challenge. Here's the first picture, and your task is to find the odd one out. Can you do it? Yes, it's right here. Okay, another set of emojis. This time, all of them come in pairs except for one that's a single Pringle. Can you find that one? Yes, here it is. I think you got it. Let's make the task a bit more complicated now. How many B's can you find among all these D's? I'll give you 30 seconds for this one. Time's up! There's 3 of them. I hope you haven't lost anything. A similar task, but now you should find B's among 8s. How many do you see? You have another 30 seconds to do the job. This time, there's 9 of them. Have you found them all? Look at this pile of eggs. Can you count how many eggs there are here? Well, there are 5 layers, and all of them are perfect squares. A 5x5 one at the bottom, then there's a 4x4 one, then a 3x3 one, a 2x2 square, and one last egg on top. So, we multiply, sum up the layers, and get. How long did it take you to figure it out? Now it's time for a tricky riddle. Take a look at this picture and tell me how many circles there are here. A little hint for you. 3 isn't the correct answer. Think outside the box. There are 4 circles, 3 big ones that you obviously see. But look, there's the 4th one, this little part of the question mark. Another circle riddle, but you can relax. This one's not so tricky. Just relax and count. How many circles are in the picture? Well, let's count, starting right with this small circle in the middle. 1. Then the white one behind it. 2. Then the blue one behind the white one. 3. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 circles. Did you get this one right? Susan is a genie hunter, meaning she's been out and about looking for a lamp to make her wishes. After decades of searching, she's finally found one in an old cave. But it turns out that the lamp is guarded by spirits. As soon as Susan touches the lamp, it gets 2 duplicates, and they start switching places. Look, this one is the original lamp. Watch it closely and then tell me where it is. So, where is the correct lamp? Here it is! Even though Susan's guess is correct, the lamp starts switching places again, and even faster than the last time. Keep your eyes wide open to have Susan's back. Where is the lamp with a genie? This is the one. Did you get it right? That's very unfortunate, but now there's a 4th lamp. Can you still track the original one? Let's see. Ready, set, go! Now you can make your choice. Yes, exactly. This is the one. Another spin, faster and wilder than all the previous ones. Okay, now you choose. This was the last time, and Susan got it right. Now she's finally granted her 3 wishes. And what would you wish for? During summer break, Jane's friends invited her to go on a month-long cross-country hike. Jane wasn't a fan of hiking, especially a hike that long. But she also didn't want to come across as a couch potato, so she told her friends that she was going on vacation with her family. In July, Jane found a vacation photo of her parents and her sister taken in April and photoshopped herself into it. Then she sent it to her friends. When her friends saw the photo, they realized it was fake. Inspect the photo and tell me how they knew. Look at the other people in the photo and their clothes and hair. It's obviously windy, but Jane's hair and dress are perfectly still. Ellie had always wanted to get a cat, but her mom wouldn't allow her. Once, she found a kitten in the street, brought it home, and hid it from her mother. Ellie kept it for a week without her mom knowing about it. But one morning, Ellie went downstairs to have breakfast, and her mom realized that her daughter was keeping a cat upstairs. How did she understand it? Look, Ellie's clothes are covered in cat hair. Kenzie, Nell, and Hannah were spending the day on the beach. Their parents left to go get some food and told the girls not to go into the water until they came back. The girls were reading, building sandcastles, and getting tanned. When their parents returned, they understood that one of their daughters hadn't listened to them and had gone swimming unsupervised. Which one? It was Nell. Look, the towel she's lying on is wet. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one there ever reads or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a long and fun day at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have a fun day. Mrs. Relham asked them what they'd been doing. Hannah said, "I was out with some friends." Elle said, "I went to have a manicure with a classmate." Ava said, I stayed in the room playing computer games with my online friends. Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied. Who was it? It was Elle. She said she had gone to get her nails done, but why do they look so untidy then? Okay, a new task now. I'll be showing you some photos, but these photos aren't ordinary. In each one of them, there are 3 hidden words. Your task is to find them. Do you think you can do it? Well, let's see. Here's the first one. Try to find 3 words hidden in it. This one wasn't too hard, was it? Here are the words. Now let's make it just a tiny bit harder, but the rules are the same. There are just 3 words. I believe in you. Let's go. Here, here, and here. Have you found them all? Okay, the third one for you. So keep your eyes wide open. Okay, here they all are. I hope you've succeeded. If not, it's okay. To be honest, I couldn't find them myself. Well, now it's pretty much level impossible. But that's the moment we've been training for. Can you find all 3 words hidden in the photo? Here's one, here's the second one, and here's the third one. It was tough. I'm proud of you. Ashley is going on a month-long vacation, but she has trouble packing. Or it's more that she has trouble finding things she needs in her house. Can you help her? I'll be showing you the pictures of her house and the items she needs. You just have to find them in the picture. Okay, let's start with her bedroom. Can you see these items there? She needs her laptop, her book, a charger, and her hair straightener. Okay, here they all are. Have you found them? The next room is a closet. She needs this particular dress, a hat, a swimsuit, and flip-flops. Can you help Ashley find them? Here's the dress. That must be the hat. The swimsuit. And here are the flip-flops. All here. Next. Welcome to Ashley's living room. Here, she needs to find her documents, her wallet, a purse, and her heels. You know what to do. Here, 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 and here. Great job! And finally, the bathroom. Now she only needs her sunscreen, lipstick, a small mirror, and some hair ties. Here they all are. I hope you've managed to find them all. Thank you for your help today, and I hope you've had fun.
Today, I'm going to test your attention. During the whole video, you should stay alert and keep your eyes wide open. Do you think you're ready?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let's start with a riddle about these 2 pretty ladies. I've heard a rumor that one of them isn't as young as she appears. She is 100 years old. But which one? It's the lady on the right. Take a look at her reflection in the mirror. It shows her true posture and true age. Callie is spending her vacation in the Maldives. She can choose one of these 3 bungalows, but unfortunately, each road has some danger. The first road is on fire. The second road is swarming with venomous snakes. And toxic waste is spilled all over the third road. Which way should Callie choose? She should choose the first road. Callie can put out the fire with seawater. There's plenty around. Look, there are two couples. Both of them seem pretty ordinary, but that's just at first sight. In fact, one of them is from another world. Which one? Of course, it's the couple on the left. Take a look at this guy's feet. They don't match his reflection. In a parallel universe, it was only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever worked or studied. Mrs. Relum came back home after a long and fun day at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I've been watching Netflix all day." Elle said, "I went to a party." Ava said, "I had lunch with a bunch of girls." Still, Mrs. Relum could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, there's an opened physics textbook and some notes under her bed. Ava had a sleepover with her friends, so no wonder that her room is a complete mess. Now she's going camping with her friends. She needs her boots, a flashlight, and a raincoat. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they are. Great job. After Ava returns from her camping trip, she'll need to go to her art class. She needs her brushes, her paints, and a canvas. Can you help her find them? Here, here, and here. Did you manage to locate all of them? Elle is getting ready for a sleepover and can't find some things in her messy room too. She needs her pajamas, a laptop, and a Bluetooth speaker. Can you help her find them? Here they are. Did you find them all? Now Elle is getting ready to go to a club with some friends. She needs her dress, a makeup kit, and her wallet. Where are they? They're all right here. Okay, now I'll show you some photos. In each photo, there are hidden numbers from 1 to 9, except for 1. Your task is to find all numbers and identify which one is missing.
Yeah.
Here is the first one. Which number from 1 to 9 isn't in the photo? Correct. There is no number 3. Okay, now something a bit harder. A new photo, but the task is the same. Which number is missing? Now, there's no number 7. The next one, here it is. What do you say? This time, it's 9 that's missing. The task is getting harder, and the numbers aren't so easy to find anymore. But I believe you can do it, so go ahead. What do you say this time? There is no number 5. That's right. Okay, the last one. Concentrate and give me the right answer. Yes, number 8 isn't there. Great job! Alex is enjoying the sun in the backyard, and Meadow is mowing the lawn before joining him in drinking her milkshake. Which one of them is doing something stupid? Meadow. Her milkshake is standing in direct sunlight. Firstly, it'll have melted by the time she's free. Secondly, the milk can go bad, so she's likely to get a stomachache. Thomas and Abigail are going on a date. Abigail arrived half an hour earlier and went book hunting to a nearby mall. Thomas is running late, so he's in a hurry. Who is doing something wrong? Thomas. He's driving on the left side of the road. Ryan and Neva are camping. Ryan took a boat to cross the river, and Neva went to collect some sticks to make a fire. Who is in danger? Ryan. Look, the boat has a crack in it and starts getting filled with water. Asher and Haley are enjoying their vacations. Asher is on a beach and has fallen asleep. Haley is hiking in the mountains. Who is not smart? Asher. The sun is high in the sky, so it's around midday. He has fallen asleep, so he'll get a sunburn. See? He's already pink. William and Wendy are late for work. Who is doing something wrong? William. He's driving way above the speed limit. Sam found his best friend, Wendy, unconscious in her kitchen and immediately called the police. Here's what he had told them when the police arrived. She had been out of the city for a work trip and had just returned home. I was walking past her house with my dog and saw that the light was on. I peeked through the window and saw her lying here in the kitchen. So I entered the house. I had the key. Sam was taken to the police station as a suspect. Why? Sam said that he had been walking with his dog, but then, where is the animal? Aurora was spending her summer in the countryside. She loved taking long trips to the local forest alone. During one of her walks, she came across a huge mansion. It was obvious that no one lived there, so she entered it. It was dusty inside, but very beautiful, so she took some pictures and left. When Aurora came back home, she scrolled through her photos to pick the best of them to post on her social media. When she saw one of the photos, she got chills. Take a good look at the photo. Can you see what scared her so much? Aurora noticed a ghost right here. So the mansion is haunted. Aurora looked through her other photos and saw more ghosts. But how many? Help her count them. Here's the next photo. How many ghosts can you find? One, 2, and 3. There are 3 ghosts in this one. The next picture. Do you see any ghosts? There are just 2 ghosts here, but they are very well hidden. Have you found both? In the last photo, how many ghosts can you find? Look, there are 4 of them here. Mr. Johnson got in a car accident and spent a month in the hospital. He had amnesia and forgot some things. He didn't have any family. A month later, he finally returned home. He found his street, but then he realized he didn't remember which of the 2 houses was actually his house. Can you guess which house belongs to him? The light is on in this house, so someone must live there. As you remember, Mr. Johnson lives alone, so his house must be the other one, with dark windows. Mrs. Brown is a landlord of an apartment building with a no-pet policy. Not even fish are allowed. One night, she heard a dog barking somewhere on the floor above hers. The next day, she inspected 2 apartments. In which apartment does the dog live? It must be this one. Even though there's no dog in sight, the carpet is covered in dog hairs.